So it finally happened. Sting has retired from professional wrestling. His last match last night at AEW Revolution 2024, teaming with Darby Allin, taking on the Young Bucks and retaining the tag gold. A really, really emotional stuff last night.
Oh, it was such a tremendous match and like a really brutal one too for Sting's final match. What a run he's had in AEW too. It feels like it rectifies sort of everything that happened in WWE. It did feel like maybe he should have put someone over in the end, but at the same time, I still think
they booked him fantastically. I really, really like it. I agree. I think there's a few people saying that, hey, he's gone out. He's 29-0,
Damn.
would you believe? Maybe he should have put somebody over. I'm glad it wasn't the Young Bucks.
Yeah, no, that's the main thing.
Sending our best, as you mentioned there, to Darby Allin, who took an absolutely insane bump, his back torn to shreds. But yeah, the career of Sting, 38 plus years in the business, a man who has seen and done it all.
Yeah.
We can talk about Sting's career if you fancy it.
We can do.
But you all know who the Stinger is.
Yeah.
The match finishing after Sting submitted Matthew Jackson to the Scorpion Deathlock. Absolutely epic scenes. He came out with his two kids, one as Great American Bash, Sting there in the red, white and blue, and one as Wolfpack Sting, Steven and Garrett. Lovely lads. Unfortunately, it was slightly hampered, I don't want to dwell on this too much, by the fact that the pay-per-view feed cut out early. If you were watching on Fight, which is not Fight anymore, it's Triller. If you were watching on Triller, it was cut, unfortunately, at the end due to pay-per-view time constraints. Fortunately, AEW have uploaded the full post-pay-per-view Sting celebration. You can check that out, but we'll run it down for you very, very quickly here now.
Yes, he said, I was hoping that this night would be surreal in many ways. The video package that you saw before we got to the ring and to see this is the exact boots, tights and jacket that I wore way back when. And in later years, we got some cool Wolfpack standing around here referring to one of his sons dressed as Wolfpack Sting. We're off air now, so I can do that.
You can talk
Sting
about
jokes. You knew that. You know what, Greensboro? You've still got it. I don't have any words other than to say thank you. I love you all so much.
He then called out AEW CEO Tony Khan. Tony Khan comes down to the ring, says a few words. I'd like to call a very important person out. It wouldn't be possible without Tony Khan. Out comes Tony. Khan came out, he hugged Sting, thanked the fans for being a part of the greatest wrestling pay-per-view ever. It really was a fantastic
top
night.
to bottom was
brilliant.
Like banger after banger was really, really good.
Great matches, great moments. We saw a few returns, which we'll talk about in our second video today as well. Tony Schiavone giving us one last. Go on. Go on. It's Sting! Really good.
There you go.
What mic control as well.
Musician. That's what my degree amounts to. There you go.
Yeah.
Hey.
And then the AEW roster and a few staff members as well coming out to the ramp, giving Sting the round of applause that he truly deserves. It was just a brilliant night. I love the way that it played out. Got me really, really emotional. I was welling up when they cut to that. I'm no good at seeing people cry, and when they cut to that guy in the crowd, I can't deal with it, and I was welling up watching it. But Sting is just a guy who is, we talked about the win-loss record and everything, but he is a guy who is actually really selfless.
Yeah, very given. Definitely very given. And it's a strange one for me because I've never been a big fan of Sting. He never really clicked for me at all when I was a kid or anything like that.
Jack's got the same thing there.
But just recently seeing, I think as you grow a little bit older, you become more appreciative of certain wrestlers, especially what they've done for the business, and Sting is absolutely one of them. And to see just all these homages to his career throughout the years, to see how much work he's put in and what he's done for wrestling as a whole, it does make you appreciate a lot more how far he's come and how far he's helped the business progress as well. And when you see stuff like this, you can't help but get emotional for something like that, can you?
It's a human story. It's more than a wrestling story, isn't it? It's a guy who has given his entire life basically to an industry who is now, because he's getting old, he's having to call it a day. That's just a human story. The wrestling part doesn't even really matter. He's an old man, by all accounts, one of wrestling's good guys. And somebody who I'd like to think it's really safe to have as a hero. I try not to have heroes in wrestling anymore.
Difficult, isn't it?
I've been burned so many times. I think we all have. But nobody's got a bad word to say about the Stinger.
No.
He just seems like a really awesome human being who is incredibly giving and has been throughout his entire career in every promotion that he's been in. He's an awesome guy.
Yeah.
The AEW tag team titles, as we said, they're not changing hands last night, but it was confirmed during the post-show media scrum that those are going to be vacated. Tony Khan revealing that there's going to be, who guessed it, a tournament to crown new champions. No, this is fine. I think this is where you need a tournament, right? I'm glad that he's vacated with some gold. I think that's really, really nice. The Young Bucks didn't need them to.
No, exactly.
Do what they're doing. I think it's all grand, and this is worthy of a tournament. I don't have a problem with this one at all.
I think it makes them feel special as well, especially them sort of can now tout the tag team championships as like Sting was the last person to hold these, and it's a big deal, and he gave them up following his last match. So it does feel like a huge deal. They can build something special around it. Again, the tag division in AEW is tremendous, but it's felt like maybe the belts recently have been kind of not where they have been previously.
Yeah, agreed.
And this could definitely help them get back to that place again.
Sting, prior to the pay-per-view, chatting away with Colette Arrant for Pro Wrestling Illustrated, revealing that Tony Khan actually wanted him to stay longer and pitched for him to do so, saying that I've had a lot of fun, I've enjoyed the fans, I cannot thank them enough, but after all these years, having walked through the curtain thousands of times, I'm still a nervous wreck when I go out there, and it gets pretty overwhelming to try and perform at a high level at my age, even in a short match, even if it's a 6 or 8 man tag. Tony was actually trying to get me to stay longer, maybe retire at Wembley, but it gets tougher and tougher every time you go out there, and you have all these young guys who are ready to play. There's only so far you can push it. It's kind of sad, of course, but at some point you just have to do it. There's a part of me that's sad, but there's another part of me that's relieved. It's bittersweet, but I'm looking forward to it. Prior to the match, of course. Again, it's a human story, isn't it?
And do you know what? He's got a lot of dignity as well, just to be like, I don't think I can keep going. I'm going to stop. Let's just stop it now whilst it's hot. Let's not try and drag it out for longer than it needs to be. Let's just end on a high.
Ric Flair, take note.
Yeah, please.
He did talk about one regret that he's got with his AEW run, and that's not having a match with the Cleaner.
Yeah, he said a lot of wrestling fans thought for sure that Darby was going to turn on me, or that I was going to turn on him. But I would love to have had a match against Kenny Omega. Kenny is legitimate world champion material. Obviously, he's been an AEW world champion, but to me, sometimes how good he is goes underappreciated because he's never been with WWE. Some people think he doesn't deserve his accolades, but he is one of the best all-round world heavyweight champions I've ever seen, one of the best in the wrestling industry, and I agree with that as well, I think.
Yeah, for sure. It's nice that he sort of touched upon the fact, and I think he's speaking from experience here, that people maybe don't respect the accolades because that person hasn't been with WWE, because Sting had that for the longest time as well. Is it sad that we didn't get it? Yeah, I guess so. It would have been a fun little match, wouldn't it? Just some tag action. The Elite back when they were doing something with Darby, Sting and whoever else.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's it. Like, it would have been cool to see a one-on-one match, but I think at the sort of time period where Sting is obviously at the moment, I'm not sure it would have been the best.
No, there's always going to be those people, right, that you regret. There's constantly people coming and going from any wrestling promotion. Obviously, Kenny's been there for the longest time and everything, and it would have been cool to see. But there's always going to be those regrets, and I don't think anybody's thinking, Sting's last run. It wasn't all that because he didn't wrestle Kenny. Exactly. It's just one of those things.
Kenny would have been a great pair of hands though as well to be in the ring with Sting too. Yeah, it would have been cool.
As far as future plans for Sting in AEW go. Somebody during the press conference yesterday asking Tony Khan about whether he's going to remain in a backstage role, something that's obviously been hinted at in the past. Tony tells Sting that he wants him around. Sting said he's willing to talk about it, but doesn't really have interest in being a manager or backstage agent. So it'll be interesting to see how and if, I guess, they use Sting moving forward. I guess like a company ambassador kind of role.
Oh, that's not a bad shout, actually.
The Titus O'Neil of AEW. No, but like they do all of this like community outreach stuff, and having the Stinger turn up to do whatever
cool.
is a really cool thing. But time will tell on that one. Finally, we're going to finish off a lot of wrestlers paying respect to Sting, of course, on social media and various other places. We're just going to run down a few of these, a few notable names, but there are literally hundreds, if not thousands, of these coming in just from wrestlers alone. Dustin Rhodes, accompanied by a picture of Sting himself and Cody, saying, "Icon, inspiration, and friend. Thank you, Sting, for an incredible career. I will miss you, man. Hashtag Stinger."
Bully Ray said, "Dear Sting, thank you, reverence."
Good. CM Punk posted a shot of Sting and himself in AEW to his Instagram stories with the words respect and grateful alongside it.
Nick Aldis said, "You're a wonderful man and a true icon. I hope tonight is everything you hope for. Congratulations on an incredible career and thank you for having faith in me. Tear it up tonight."
Of course.
Thank you, Sting.
Sharing the ring various times in TNA there. Kevin Owens posting a picture of himself doing Sting's taunt back at Payback 2023.
Kaji Muto saying...
KG,
saying thank you, Sting, and goodbye.
And finally, Matt Hardy. Sting's final match was tremendous. Everyone involved killed it. Thank you, AEW, for putting the icon Sting in a position to succeed in going out on his own terms. Wrestling fans will love and appreciate it. And that's it. He's gone out on his own terms. He said that there was nobody else that he wanted to have his final match with rather than the Young Bucks. He wanted the Bucks. They made him look $1 million. It was awesome. I think it was an awesome night of pro wrestling. There's so much to talk about, which is why we're going to be back for another video to talk about some of the backstage happenings and more from AEW Revolution 2024. You can check out what happened that's on the channel right now. Before I forget, tomorrow, 9 p.m, here on this very YouTube channel, I'm resuming My Rise.
Whoa.
I say resuming, I'm starting a new My Rise here, so do come and join me for that. WWE 2K24 out this week. It'd be lovely to see you there. 9 p.m. tomorrow. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you very, very shortly.